this is Dee Wallace, and you're listening to Your Beautiful Day on the Gratitude Radio Network.
Everybody's on set and we're ready to rock and roll.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Neil Haley Show and Your Beautiful Day here on the Gratitude Radio Network. And I'm excited to welcome to the program my two co-hosts, Jen Mogg and Pearl Sharenza. Guys, thanks for coming by, and I know you guys are excited about our guest.
We're very excited about our guest today, and thank you for joining us on the Gratitude Radio Network and Your Beautiful Day, where we hope that you are going to have a beautiful day from the inspirations on our show.
Absolutely, and our guest is a good friend of mine. I consider her a friend because we've done 3 interviews together. I thought it was 2. But one time we stayed up really late and we're on this 24-hour
oh my God,
crazy broadcast in Spain, and Dee remembers it completely.
I do now.
Yes, we were up. What time was it, like 2, 3 in the morning in East Coast, and you were up at like 1, I don't know, maybe 4, and they were doing like this marathon interview. And the guys from Spain, what was funny, I think they forgot to speak some of the English. They were so tired from the whole thing. Dee, crack up. I have the interview still. I'll have to send it to Dee. So that's how long Dee and I know each other. So there's no introduction needed, but Dee Wallace, actress, healer, entrepreneur. Dee, thanks for stopping by.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here, and I forgot about that interview that we did in the middle of the night. Totally. You have to send that to me. That'll be a kick to listen to again.
I am so excited to have you on. Not just because I'm a fan of yours. Of course, E.T. is my favorite movie, and I shared it with all my kids. But also because in learning more about your background, it's so aligned with what I have so much in my life, and I work with my clients that are women. So I'm excited to have you on. I cannot wait to get started here today.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. And hopefully, we'll inspire and enlighten and expand consciousness during this hour. So that's my intention.
Awesome.
Download the gratitude and send it out.
Indeed.
All right, Jen, I know you have the first question for Dee.
Oh my gosh. I have so many questions for you. You've been one of my sheroes in my life. And
oh, wow. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I love it, from the Scream Queen to T, who I absolutely adored. And I love everything that you're doing with your life and all of the gifts that you've opened up and where you're going. How has it been intertwined from the spiritual to acting and being a creative?
Well, I used to channel, as all children do, when I was younger. And then when I got into acting, I discovered my mentor, Charles Conrad. And he taught this technique where you don't think about anything. You don't break anything down, which is the opposite of everything I'd been taught from Uta Hagen and all the people I'd studied with. And for me, it was freedom. And in a nutshell, what it is you get your energy really, really high, and you come in with no ideas, and you throw all your energy toward the person you're working with, or the werewolf, or whatever. And for me, well, for everybody, what that did was open a channel. There were so many miraculous things that I witnessed in my acting studio. We were never allowed to do a piece of material that we knew, or we knew where it came from. And I would get up and start limping, and Charles would go, Dee Wallace, where have you seen this material before? You're not supposed to do. I said, Charles, I swear to you, I don't know anything. And the woman was a cripple. And then when my husband passed away, Chris and I, my husband, had studied a philosophy called conceptology, which was a channeled philosophy from the 1930s and really the precursor to a lot of everything we know today. And so we had studied that. And when he died suddenly from a heart attack, I dropped to my knees and I said, I don't want to be pissed off. I don't want to be a victim. And here are the important words. I want a way we can heal ourselves. And like that, I got my first message. And it was, use the light within you to heal yourself.
Absolutely.
And I'm still exploring what that means. And then I started trusting my channeling. I had set up a whole acting studio, and I would be watching a scene and just get overwhelmed with all this information about where their blocks were. And their lives started changing, and their success started changing, and then their families wanted to work with me, and then their friends wanted to work with me. And I realized that what I was channeling spiritually, I had been doing in my acting all my life.
Oh, wow.
And it was exciting, and it also allowed me to move into so much trust, because I had had years in Charles' class of trusting the information to come through me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what channeling, anybody can channel, anybody. All the information is just hanging out up there, but you have to ask. That's why the good book says, ask and ye receive. However, ask in the original Hebrew means claim or demand. So it's not, can you deliver this to me, please? It's,
May I please?
this, yeah, no, this will be delivered to me now.
It has to be. Those grand
Yeah.
commands, when my life started changing, and I went back, Dee, you were one of the people I went back for. I realized I'd been diverted in my life and through my past divorce. And I wanted to go back for who I was. And I wanted to go back into my childhood and keep going. And every point in time, there's somebody else that pops up. And it's really cool that this is here, because it's a demand that we do.
Yes.
When I started going back, I realized we are here for the light. We are here for the light, and it's all about gratitude.
We're here to know we're God.
Yeah.
We are here to know that we have been given the right and the responsibility to choose and create our own realities on this plane. So nobody can think a thought for you.
Right.
Nobody can feel a feeling for you. Nobody can hold a perspective for you that you don't agree to. And that makes you the God of your own energy
And
on
that's
this plane.
and-
And yeah, you want to feel more gratitude
Mhm.
about everything.
Yes.
You feel a lot of gratitude when you know you're not a victim and somebody else isn't keeping you from doing it, no matter what somebody did to you in your life or where you're at right now. In this moment right now, you get to choose. And that's the power. And man, talk about opening up gratitude.
It just blows me away to think about the word choice and how we have a choice. So Pearl, in a lot of ways, are the people who victimize us in our lives, we always blame them.
Well, let me stop you there.
Mm-hmm.
We victimize ourselves.
Okay.
She's right.
Stuff happens, and then we say and define ourselves, I am a victim because of this.
Oh.
And right there, you give away your choice.
Mm-hmm.
Right there, you give away your gratitude.
She's preaching it. She's preaching it. She's got it.
You got me going today.
Sorry, my Baptist preacher comes out sometimes. Sorry.
You're the mom. You're the mother of gratitude. Every mother, everyone is a part of it. It's our family. And when we wake up and send it out, it's going to be changing the world. you know,
Well,
everybody,
and you change the world when you change yourself.
that's it.
And that's brain science. That when you shift frequencies within yourself, the frequencies of the universe shift to match up to what you've chosen.
yes.
Einstein said it, one of our greatest scientists, find the frequency within you that you want and match it to the universe and you'll have it.
See, that is so true. And I'm sitting here thinking about my son, my oldest. He's adopted, and he keeps repeating the same patterns. And we always taught our boys, you can be whatever you want to be. So if it was football player you want to be, whatever it is, we never stopped them from trying to go after their goals because we wanted them to go after that. So you're sitting here, and I'm thinking to myself, that's everything that he's struggling with today in his life. So
Sorry, the channel is chiming in. Can I
yes.
get some information? So I believe it's a true statement that they knew they were going to give him up. Is that true? Do you know?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. So you see, the wall he keeps hitting is he's afraid to be born.
Yeah.
And so any time he goes out to create something new, he's trying to be born into that new creation.
And he keeps failing at it.
Well, that's why. Because he says, when I'm born, I'm abandoned.
Yep.
So better not to even be born, but I'll keep trying.
That's so on. You're so spot on. Exactly.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited about that. So Dee, you can help people. They can get in contact with you. You have sessions.
Oh, sure. I do sessions every day over the phone.
You are so accessible. I love that. I absolutely love that. What I started doing with my own healing, aside from plugging into gratitude, is I stopped using the word healing. I just used healthy, because healing came from a place.
And that's what you're so spot on, because the channel, and this is all new information like this week, they said go to the 0 point where none of the dis-ease or unhappiness exists, and just say, I am the 0 point of health and wellness. Because health and wellness means you have enough money, you have beautiful relationships, you have your divine partner if you want one, you have a healthy body, right? It covers every subject of your life. And it's really simple, but again, we keep focused on this stuff we don't want.
The part of 0, the point of 0, it's perfect. It's a perfect foundation. And people think of 0 as just, oh, it's nothing, it's negative, it's not full. But that's where everything manifests from.
Absolutely.
How did you get into channeling?
I was born.
Did you read a book? Was it something that it just happened to you? Because
no,
just like
I got into channeling. I mean, like I said, I did it as a kid, and everybody thought it was just my imagination and stuff like that's what we do with kids, right? Sure, you have an imaginary friend, and sure, you're talking to him. But I wanted to have my baby, and all the specialists said I would never get pregnant. And I said, thank you for sharing. That's your story. God and I have a different plan. And I started working with this acupuncturist, and he taught me how to run energy through my chakras. And then I found my doctor, who is a homeopath, but also a licensed internist. And the way he tests me is through muscle testing. So the first way of testing that I learned was muscle testing, kinesiology. And then I found this wonderful doctor who helps with allergies and all kinds of things. And she worked with a pendulum.
Mhm.
And at the same time, I found a chiropractor who was doing the fingers, right?
Right. Yes, that's right.
So there's a myriad of ways that you can test, and all they are telephones, guys. They're just telephones to help guide you to the highest information. But I went, oh my God, when I found the pendulum, it was like gold for me because I didn't need somebody else to test with or somebody to test my arm. I could just work with the pendulum, which is what I do now. And again, it's like a telephone. But you see, I said, I want to know about these things. I want to learn. I want a way that I can work with energy. And so the universe took me to all these different places, right? So that I could learn. But then I had to trust myself and I had to say, okay. And I had to practice. And it really is as simple as starting. I'll show you, where is it? Can you see it? My pendulum?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's very heavy. I like to work with one that's a lot heavier. But now I hardly need a pendulum because I just hear automatically.
Mine's on the other side. It's funny that you have that.
Yeah, I am.
That's hilarious.
I mean, I think it's good that we have a tool where we can check ourselves, especially when I'm working on things like with my daughter, because anything with your kid is loaded, right? And so it's good to have a tool that you can keep yourself in check with. But I never start without saying, I demand the highest information and the highest knowledge and the highest understanding, because that's where most channels fall out. That's where most psychics fall out, is they grab a piece of information out of the energy, but they don't understand the highest message from it. I've got a funny story about that. I worked with this wonderful psychic and she was quite right on. This was years and years ago when I was in my 30s. And she said, you're going to have an affair right in front of your husband. And I went, well, I don't think so. I'll be dead if I do that. That summer, I did Annie Get Your Gun on stage, had a love affair with Frank, and my husband was in the audience.
Oh my gosh.
That's hilarious.
So, you can't live your life by the things that you're told. You're your highest answer.
Right.
And you always have to go within yourself to really see where the truth is. But most of us, when we hear the truth, like what I just did with Pearl and her son, when we hear the truth, it rings something within us.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. I love the point when you talk about zero. That's where you can start with everything. That's one of the things that I do with my women, and I work with them on different areas of their lives, but when it comes to like their health and wellness, they'll walk in here and they'll be, I don't ask them like, what's your goal that you want to lose? Like how much you want to lose? And 9 times out of 10 they'll go, well, why did you ask me that number? I said, because it doesn't matter. This is our starting point. And so funny you say that, because I say we start at 0 and we're just going to get you healthy. And that if you do everything you need to do, it all starts to come into place. And then
okay, so hold on. Sorry, my channel's yelling at me. Before they take any action, they need to get in alignment with the frequency of health and wellness.
Yeah, that's funny you say that. So that's one of the things I talked to them about. I'm
Great.
like, you need to be like, you don't just come in here because you think you just want to lose weight. What exactly? I want them in line with what do they want in their life. And then one of the pieces of homework I give them to do is I'm like, if you're gonna, if you do all the tools that's handed to you and you listen to what your body's telling you, you're gonna succeed. So then I have them do this homework, and I have them manifest into a vision of, okay, you've reached your goals. What does your life look like? And they start writing things, and
Yeah.
and then they'll come back like 2 weeks later, like going, Pearl, that thing I wrote down, it's right there. I'm like, yes. Like I had a lady come
Yeah.
in, she was divorced for like 10 years. And she's like, I want to lose weight. I'm like, okay, so we're down the line. You've done everything you want to do. What's happening in your life? I want to meet a man. I said, okay, what does he look like? What does he do? What are his ethics? Does he have kids, grandkids? And she wrote it all down. And I'm like, 6-7 months later, she's like, I've met him. I'm like, I told you would. You just have to listen, So I just love that.
Well, and also you helped her make a choice.
Yes.
You helped her make a conscious choice and commit to it. And we all know that once we commit, the whole universe comes forward to help us create it.
Yeah.
I'm a living, breathing example of that everywhere in my life. And boy, when I first went to New York, I'd never been out of Kansas in my life. My mother said, oh, honey, be an actress, but can you do it in Kansas? I said, I have done it in Kansas, Mom, and I've gone about as far as I can go.
Yeah.
So, never been on an airplane. Moved to New York by myself. I was a school teacher. I taught English and theater, and in the library, we got the New York Times. And in the New York Times, there was a big article about how Prince, who was the biggest producer on Broadway, was looking for an unknown to star in A Little Night Music. So I'm a big believer in naivete, really big believer in naivete, because when you're naive, you don't doubt.
You don't.
And I wrote him the cheesiest letter and sent him the cheesiest picture. And 3 weeks later, his assistant called me and said, Mr. Prince would like to fly you to New York to audition. I said, oh my gosh, that's great. What day does he need me to be there? They gave me the date, and I said, oh, I'm coming in that day. I arrive at 1 o'clock. What time does he need? Well, he doesn't need you till 5. I said, oh, well, he can save the money. This is how I was raised, right? And I'm not a real blonde, I'd like to say. But I was raised to be truthful and honest. So I could have had a first class, gotten there 2 days ahead of time and relaxed. But no, I took 2 suitcases, put him in a taxi, said the taxi driver, here, can you take it to this address? Because I have to go to Rockefeller Center and audition for Hal Prince. And they got there. And just one thing, then some guy came up to me in a coffee shop, and he looked at me, he said, you just got here, didn't you? I went, I said, that's really a good opening pickup line. He said, no, I can just tell. And if you have an hour, I want to sit down with you and teach you all the basic stuff you need to know about being here. And then I met another guy at an audition, and he took me to a Halloween party. His agents, who were the biggest commercial agents in New York at the time, were there. I was just me. They said at the end of the night, why don't you come by our office on Monday? We think we'd like to work with you. And I went, okay, what do you do? I mean, when you commit and believe, the universe conspires to bring better than you could ever think, easier than you could ever think to you. It's miraculous.
Happens like that. It consistently happens like that.
Yeah, it does.
The right people at the right time.
Wow.
And you're in New York with millions of people.
Yep.
And your poor parents in Kansas were probably freaking out. Mine would have been.
Well, my daddy was already gone by that time, but my mom I'm an actress because my mother was an actress. she was a secretary, but she was a beautiful actress in community theater and performed for the mayor. And the biggest, I think the biggest place she affected me the most was she directed all the religious plays at our church. And every Christmas and Easter, she would do a half hour, what we call dramatic reading. And people from 4 states would come to watch my mommy. I get all
So sweet.
kerfluffed. And I remember being that 8-year-old little girl sitting there looking around at all these grown men and women crying. And I went, I want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I want to move people like this,
That's great.
you know.
Mhm.
I started out as baby Jesus, and I ended up as the Virgin Mary before I went to New York. I covered all the bases.
No,
That's
it's,
awesome.
it's
That is such
it's
a beautiful story.
wow.
That
It
is
is
such a beautiful memory.
Yeah, she was quite, I'm sure she's Saint Maxine up there running the show.
wow. I mean, it's just amazing to hear the story so far, and how you said it connects to what you do now, Dee. And
Everything's interconnected, guys. We know that.
It is.
Yeah.
All the experiences we have, if we really open ourselves up to want to create the next opportunity, it will be done with all of our experiences. So do you believe the experiences help in that process to create things? Without experiences, you can't, right?
No, I believe it works the other way.
Oh, well.
That you have to know and commit, and then the experience happens. And that's what's in our way of most of us, is that we're waiting for the proof. Prove to me I'll be okay if I do this. Well, there's nobody that could prove to me I was going to be okay if I went to New York. I had to go to New York to create that experience.
You had to trust yourself and trust the journey to be there.
Yeah. Yep. And that's what the biggest wall that I find that people hit is from religious and societal teachings that say you need to hold yourself down, you won't be loved, God won't love you, society won't love you unless you hold yourself small because you know you're not even worthy to sit at the feet of Christ. Well, Christ never said that. God never said that.
No.
Some guy who wanted more power said that, and we bought it, right? In the good book, it says, here, these miracles and more will you do also. Go do your miracles.
Right.
But we can't create our miracles if we
can't
don't
even say co-creation.
love ourselves.
Right.
We can't even say co-creation in the church.
Yes.
It's blasphemous. It's all the tools that you and I think are normal, right? The pendulum, the everything. I was doing frequency, and I said I wish I had something for frequency, and I ended up with 2 of the 3 tuning forks. Cleaning off the garage, and I'm like, and the last thing that was there were 3 of them and 3 different sizes, and I said, where did this come from? And I just looked up and said, thank you. I've never seen them before. I don't know where they came from. I asked for them, and underneath all this crap that I'm cleaning up and cleaning out, it's like I've never seen this before.
Well, and that's a perfect metaphor. Underneath all the crap is where the simplistic joy of creation is. And the more you clean out the crap from your energy,
right,
the more the universe and you have this beautiful, incredible dance.
And it is
So true.
How do you clean out the energy? How do you clear out the clutter?
Well, you don't clean it out. You just choose and stay focused on what you want. Because if you're focused on cleaning stuff out, which has been a lot of my work up until now, it's very interesting. When I look back over the 30 years I've been doing this, it's been like being in school. And I just had to trust that sometimes I went, why the hell am I learning this? And then I would find out 3 months later why I was learning. Like fractal. They gave me the word fractal. Okay, I'm an English teacher. Math, not so good at math. I didn't even know what a fractal was. So I started looking it up and I went, well, yeah, I see what that has to do with my work. Fractal is this becomes this becomes this. It just goes out forever, right? So I hear a knock on the door as I'm learning about fractals. This is a true story, swear to God. There's a UPS driver. Now, you know they hardly ever knock on your door. I never talked to him. It was a lady. And she said something and I went, oh, are you having a good day? And we started talking and I said, I'm Dee, by the way. She said, hi, I'm Fractal.
Oh,
I said, excuse me? She said, I know it's a really weird name. My dad was a mathematician.
wow.
I said, well, in your experience and in your knowledge of your name, what does that mean? And she says, I come from everything and I go into everything. And I went, and there you go.
That's
But I
amazing.
mean, what are the chances that I could create that? You can't create stuff like that.
No.
You know, the universe has to go,
No.
look what I'm going to do today, right?
Your sense of humor. The universe has an amazing sense of humor and is very playful.
You bet.
Very.
And the more we play with it, the more they love it. And, you know, a lot of my work started out, and it still is, being based on the I am principles. God said, I am that I am. I have to say I'm God if I am God. So I'm asking everybody listening now, what are you saying you are? Are you saying you're tired? Because you'll get more tired. That's a universal rule. You have to match whatever you are defining yourself as. I am fabulous and amazing. You get more fabulous and amazing.
That's so
I'm
true.
not worthy and I'm scared and I don't have enough money. You'll just create more of it.
That's so true. I have in my mirror every morning, I have, I am beautifully made, I am wonderfully deserving, and all things are possible. It's on my mirror. So when I put my house in the market, my realtor's like, are you going to erase that? I go, nope. If they don't like it, they don't have to buy my house.
Oh, that's why they'll buy your house.
That's what I
You
told her. I
watch.
go,
You watch. That's why they'll buy it.
yeah.
Somebody that's going to spring something within them and go, well, yeah, that's the energy I want to be in.
Yeah. And it's what you're saying is so true. I do, I work with women. I do women's retreats every year. We have a pajama retreat where we show up.
Oh, how fun.
We're in our PJs all weekend and we have breakout sessions and we talk about exactly these things you are. You are what you create. If you tell yourself, like you said, I'm tired, I don't deserve, you're going to be tired, you're not going to deserve.
Yep.
But if you flip that around and, you know, we talk about shackling in our boundaries in our retreats, like what are you going to accept and what are you not going to accept? I accept positivity. That's why Jen and I, we like connected so quickly. We're both in that mindset of we are all deserving of whatever we want. You just have to put it out there and let it create it, you know?
Yeah, so let's talk about self-love for a minute, because it really does all come back to self-love.
Yep.
Which again, we are taught not to do from the time we can understand anything.
Right.
Give yourself up, give your toys away, sit down, be quiet. Yeah, I know you're joyful and you have a lot of energy, but it's too much for me. Squelch yourself, you know, go to your room, you name it.
Yep.
Instead of you're fabulous and you're amazing. I love your joy. You are so powerful. Sure, we have to teach them how to take that and put it into a defined space. for some situations in life. One of the books that saved me with my daughter was Parent Effectiveness Training. And it really has a lot of principles that we're talking about. You never say, ah, you're a bad person. You say, I don't like the actions that you're doing right now. They make me feel, so that they can understand and empathize how they interact with the world. But most of us,
you walk them through it, and most people don't. It's just the harsh, the harsh reality of the world. No, you have to walk people through things, especially when they're little. They're not going to understand. Adults don't even understand. So until you're using those words with adults in regular conversations, we haven't evolved.
well, and again, I end every one of my Sunday talk shows with love yourself, love yourself, love yourself more, because that's what it's all about.
I love what you have on your website there. The love yourself beyond anyone or anything else. Love yourself so much that you can't do. And I love that, because and I watched your YouTube, that the one that's on your website. I so like connect with that. And that's what when I work with my women, I'm like, just because you love yourself, I work with my women about putting themselves first.
Oh my God.
Don't feel guilty for putting yourself first. You deserve
Thank you.
Yes. And so I tell them all the time, I don't want them, I didn't do that, Dee. For 15 years, I concentrate on what do my boys want. And then when they get to high school, I was like, my friend called me out and she said, we're doing this identity thing. And she called me out. She goes, you're nowhere in that story. Where are you? And I was like, hit myself in the head. You're right. Where am I? And when I started realizing, I'm like, that's when I want to bring the women. I don't want these moms who have these young kids right now. I don't want them to look back and say, where am I in my story? So I talk about putting myself first. Don't feel guilty. And you're not a narcissist for putting yourself first. You deserve to be first.
Yeah, and that's the problem. We give. And until we have nothing, then we can't love ourselves.
Well, and what are we modeling
exactly
for our kids? The only way to show love is to give myself up.
Yeah.
And then what do they do when they get to be 20, 30, 40, and 50? Oh, I have to give myself up in order to get what I want, which is a big core belief that a lot of people.
Which it's never going to happen. You'll never get what you want if you do that.
Well, put your own mask on first.
Yeah.
When you take care of yourself and get yourself into the frequency of love and joy and gratitude, then you have ever so much to share with everybody. But you have to take care of you and start loving you. It's the first. Self-love is always the first step.
And I think one of the hardest parts of that is when you have a baby. I mean, I never thought I'd be married and have kids. That was the last thing on my mind. And then all of a sudden it hit me. And it was so mesmerizing. Like, this little person is so damn mesmerizing. I just got sucked in. And then I realized the same feelings that I have for my babies, for my children, I have to throw that back onto me.
Yes. I teach everybody to
be whole, because it's not selfish. Like you're saying, it's not selfish. It's putting on the oxygen mask. This is a part of you. You created this mesmerizing, beautiful thing. And now I say I have velociraptors because they're teenagers. We've gone from cute and cuddly.
Yeah, well, they have to break away. That's the agenda, right? But I teach everybody, find your love place.
Yes.
And it's so easy. Your love place is anything that opens your heart and makes you smile when you think of it. I go right to my dog. Pets are great.
Yes.
Yeah, they are.
Places, and then create from that. Money feels like love.
Mm-hmm.
A divine relationship feels like love. A healthy body feels like love. But we all go to the negatives of not having what we want and then try to create from there. And
you can't.
It has to create. Now, Dee, what are current projects that are going on for you? Tell us some of the things.
Well, all the studios right now are on hold, you know. However, I just said at the beginning of all the quarantine, you know, so what? Bring me some opportunities anyway. So I've had 3 amazing paychecks during this time, being able to do stuff at home. And then I got bored one day and I said, all right, what can I create? So I called 4 horror icons that are friends of mine that we do the conventions together. And I said, I have this idea. I want to write like a 20, 25-minute short. And we can all do it in our own homes. So we're safe. And we'll just do it for the fans. Just as our gift. Every single one of them came aboard. So we're in the midst of final editing and stuff on that. I have some film projects that whenever we get out of this, I have some offers on. I have 3 films that are coming out that when we get out of this, I'm sure will be released. But in the healing work, every month I do webinars, amazing webinars. And this next month on the 22nd, when they gave me this, I went, say what? COVID, Black Lives Matter, and voting. The channel is going to give us the highest information and clarity around all those 3 subjects. And they've already started giving me some download stuff, and it's quite unbelievable. Because I said, look, I can't do all this. They said, yeah, this is what you're doing. Start writing. And it was amazing how they all interconnect. Mind-boggling, actually, how they all interconnect. And then I've got my Sunday show, which is a free call-in show. Anybody can call in and talk to the channel. My website is iamdeewallace.com. And on the homepage, people can find out how to get to my show. And then I'm really excited, and I'm almost have it completed, this whole new health and wellness summit that I'm putting together. I am determined, and I know within my soul that we have the ability to create health and wellness in our bodies.
We do.
Yes.
I know it.
We do.
We just don't quite know how to do it yet.
I would love more information, Dee, on that. That's like right up my alley. That's like, so yeah.
I will let you know. I
Yeah.
have to record some new information that came in, and then the rest of it is pretty much ready to go. It's going to include webinars for people and daily email support if you need it, and
Awesome.
it's a really big deal. And you guys know from working with me, everything that I do is so affordable. I really go out of my way to
That's great.
yeah, so many people want to know the truth and live the truth, and sometimes they don't have the money to start. So I never turn anybody away for a webinar. I do believe, however, that there has to be what I call recigive, because that's how giving and receiving works. It's a circle, right? It's not I give and then sometimes I receive. It's give, receive.
Ongoing.
Receive.
An ongoing.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It's a circle. So I had a lady email me, said, Dee, I literally have $10 left for the rest of the month. Can I just pay $1? I said, you bet. So, however, I do ask people to check in with their consciousness, because if you're calling in and saying, well, I can only afford $5 and you can't afford 50, that will be the very thing that will hold money away from you, because you think you don't have enough.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So true.
So,
So Dee, do you
Amazing.
also do you do speaking engagements? If somebody
oh,
wanted to,
I do lots of speaking engagements, but not now.
right, right. So if we just reach out through you through your website, like message you or email you that way.
Well, you all have my
Yep.
personal, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll give all the personal stuff away. D, if you allow. Yes, for sure.
Give all my personal stuff away.
Yeah,
No way.
exactly, D. We had Spain together.
Yeah,
Guys, listen to
we
that
were
whole
together
Spain.
in the middle of the night, weren't we,
Yeah,
Neil?
Oh my
that's
gosh.
OMG, I can hear the comments coming in.
Uh-huh.
oh wow. Okay, so I know Jen has a major question. I guess, and that, we've found out so much about Dee, but I know he has some more questions before we're getting close to running out of time. You
Yeah.
can do a part 2 for sure with Dee, that's for sure. But go
We
ahead.
need a part 2 for Dee, absolutely. And I'd like to hire you. I'd like to have a session with you.
Well, you just let me know, baby. It'll be my gift to you.
I would absolutely love to have a session with you, and talk with you. The Howling, I have to go. I want to go to some of your
Yeah.
life. Okay, I want the life, right?
Let me change heads. Yeah. Okay.
We're back to the movies because I'm a young movie producer, and I love making movies. But I had, when I heard you were coming on the show, or right before you came on the show, I had literally a moment where someone was asking, a guy I was kind of seeing was asking if he could spend the night, and I just thought, with me, like at night, and I just, like, the whole, like, in my bed, like, and the thing was, I'm going through menopause, so all I could think of was that part of the Howling where they're changing into, it's me having a hot flash in the middle of the night in my bed, going covers on, covers off, and I'm like, no, that was like my Howling moment recently. And I thought it was so funny.
Well, that ain't going to change if you have a relationship with him. If he can't take you for who you are, baby, move on.
I was like,
Man.
no.
I'm sorry, that's your stuff.
Happen.
You are limiting his choices.
Hours of, nope, it's worse at night. What was your favorite moment of the Howling? What was that? What was, I mean,
my favorite moment, I don't know. I was engaged to Christopher.
yeah.
So it was like party time.
Oh my God.
It was a hard shoot though. It was a really hard shoot. My favorite moment. Dear God, I've never been asked that about the Howling before.
Always asked about
Scary
ET.
moment?
So
Was
go
it
ahead.
some scary
I think
I know on the set,
I think it was probably working with Joe Dante. I just adore Joe Dante. And I adored our producer, Dan Blatt, who took such good care of me and then hired me on Cujo. I just felt loved and respected and taken care of, which is really important for me coming from the family that I come from.
Yeah, you are loved and respected. That's one of the, I mean, it's just one of the things that goes with you. I think it's your aura. I think it's
well, but I had to experience that.
Right.
Like I have so many clients, they have plenty of money, but they worry about money all the time, so they never live in the experience of their abundance. Right? So
right.
I had to learn to live in the experience that people saw me as a professional, as someone to respect, take care of,
Yes.
because doing these movies are hard, guys.
Oh, sure.
Especially horror films. I mean, Cujo literally just about killed me. I was in fight or flight for 8 weeks. And what most people don't understand is your body doesn't know you're acting. So it goes through all the chemical changes that you would go through if you were in fight or flight from a great fear or horror in your life. So I totally blew out my adrenals. I'm still on adrenal supplements for adrenal fatigue because I literally blew them totally out. And so the Howling was a tough shoot, but I had Chris with me, so it was kind of romantic in a way. And it was funny, you know, that we did the scene in the bedroom where we get in this argument and he slaps me. And Joe Dante, our director, says, well, I know you guys have rehearsed it. Let me just see what you came up with. And Chris looked at me and went, I'm sorry, my leading lady doesn't rehearse. Which is true. I don't like to I will rehearse anything technically, right? And Joe looked at me and he said, you don't rehearse any of this stuff with him? You guys just come in here and do, it looks like you rehearse all the time. I went, no, he figures everything out and I just go with whatever comes. And it works. We just worked brilliantly together that way. But it was pretty funny.
That you didn't rehearse any of that.
Nope. I think we rehearsed one time about how he was going to slap me. But had it been any other actor, I would have insisted on rehearsing that because I've gotten the crap beat out of me a couple of times from actors that did not know how to fake stuff.
Oh, no.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
The very first film that I ever did was a religious film called All the King's Horses. And I played a battered wife to an alcoholic husband. Gee, a story I didn't know. Not that my mother was ever hit, she wasn't. But we got into it so much, and he was supposed to backhand me, and he took his fist and just, and you can see me drop out of frame, and then the camera pans down, because as an actor, if you don't hear cut, you keep going.
Right.
I remember going, I don't know where I am. But the lines just kept coming because I didn't hear cut. And then it took us 2 hours to get coverage because every time we got to that point in the film, I'd go like that. So I would get it.
Yeah, you're bracing. That's bad.
I mean, but you know, I had that. Yeah. So it was like, hurry up, let's get the coverage before our face gets swelled up, right?
Oh, man.
In Cujo, they tell me, all right, Dee, hit the back of the car as hard as you can. We've treated it. You can't break it, but we're doing it in slow motion. So, yeah. Well, welcome to the adrenaline of an actor. Third time, I break it. My arm goes through the glass, slits my arm. Do I hear cut? No. So I go in, I pick the kid up, and we had rehearsed the entire scene, so I knew what I was doing next. But this part of my brain is going, you can't drag him out. There's glass, you'll hit the kid. Get him out of the car, get him out of the car, the dog's coming. Dee, you can't drag him out. So I'm getting him out with this stupid waddle that I do, and I get him out of the car and run all the way up to the door, and then I hear cut. And everybody comes in, and Dan, our producer, are you okay? Are you okay? I went, why? Yeah, I think so. And he said, Dee, look at your arm, and the blood's like, so they wrap it in this gauze bandage that's flesh colored. And Dan looks at me and says, this is our last day on this location. Can you do one more before we go to the hospital?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Welcome to the life of an actor. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Your
20 different takes.
See, I don't think we can end this without, you know, as we went through this whole podcast today and what we've been talking about, I find it interesting that E.T. and the connection that what you're, you know, the whole.
You think?
Yeah, right? I mean, how interesting is that? I mean, that's just like, so, like I said, I grew up, that's been my all-time favorite one. As soon as my kids could start watching movies, it was that movie, and then we watched the Gremlins. So my kids hate the Gremlins, but they love the E.T. Those are my two traditions. Like, these are my two favorite movies as a kid,
I watch them every Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah. I get some nice residuals after Christmas too. That's what I mean. The universe just takes you where you're supposed to go. I had auditioned for Used Cars, which is a much lesser known film of Steven's.
Yes, for sure.
And Steven works very, very far in advance, so he knows a lot of things that he's going to do in production. And he just saved me for E.T. And when E.T. came along, they just offered it to me.
That's awesome.
Wow.
How sweet
Again,
is that?
Hollywood story, universe story.
Yeah. That's
That was
awesome.
my question, was how did he manifest? How did Steven Spielberg manifest? That was my question.
I don't know how he manifests. Pretty well would be my answer.
Yeah, right?
Oh,
This
wow.
has been so amazing, Dee. Neil, thank you so much for arranging this. This is like, I can't wait to share this with all my friends and, of course, my clients that I work with, because everything we've talked about, Dee, goes right along with what I love to put out to the universe to the women that I work with. So thank you for taking the time today with us.
Oh, my great pleasure. Hey, any way we can ripple it out, right?
Yes.
Yes. And soon we'll have to find out, what are you thinking as an actor now? When do you think you guys will be back filming again and stuff? I've talked to different actors and they have different thought processes when it's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to begin to be safe, according to my channel, till November. And the operative word is begin. It's just going to begin to be safe. What's going on in this country is crazy.
Mhm.
It's crazy. And everybody better go within and find your own truth, because you're not being told the truth or
No.
guided by the truth
Yeah.
at all. If you love yourself, you take care of yourself and you do what you have to do. And the extension of that is then you love everybody else. So I told my community, if you have a problem with social distancing or wearing a mask, you don't belong in this community. You just don't belong. So go find somewhere else where you can exercise your political rights, because this community is about consciousness.
Right.
Yes.
And what we do for one, we do for all.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's crazy. Nobody has a problem wearing a damn seat belt.
Right.
Right.
Thank you.
I don't get it. I just don't get it.
We could easily flatten the curve again by doing what you said, Dee. And then we wouldn't have to open up schools where kids have to wear masks the whole day.
Well, you couldn't pay me enough to send my kid to school. My kid would never be going back to school in August from what I know.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So don't let yourselves be bullied
That's great.
into making a decision that you know in your heart is not right for you. And don't allow yourself to make a decision on your children because it's easier for you.
Yeah.
You've got to dip into your consciousness, guys. You are always in choice and always in control through this, through how you react to it and how you decide to handle it. You can be a victim, or you can get up every day and go, how can I make this day great? And what can I create?
Regardless of the circumstance.
Regardless. It's not about the circumstances you're given. It's about what you choose.
That's great.
Around those circumstances.
And IamDeeWallace.com is the best place to find info, right?
Yes, sir. A lot of great stuff, a lot of guidance. If you go to the store, there's a webinar on any subject you need guidance on.
Yeah.
A lot of doctors have joined me. A lot of healers have joined me, and a lot of them are me in the channel, and they're all absolutely amazing. I stand by that unconditionally.
Jen, was that not like the most, I think that was probably my favorite one yet. Every week we say that, but I don't know, just everything about her is totally in line what we bring out to the universe.
I am so excited because she's one of my sheroes. She's one of my most favorite people growing up, and I've been wanting to talk with her for a very long time. And for this to happen, like I was saying with the howling, my little howling in my head, that was just too funny. And then all of a sudden she pops up. So really,
Yes.
mother of gratitude and so much insight. She's
Oh my
open.
gosh, so much insight, and her energy and just what she puts out into the world and the universe. It's amazing. I have to tell you, you said that word Shiro twice. You know that's something that I use in everything I do, right?
Yeah.
And so I want you to know Shiro means that you are strong, you are hopeful, you're energetic, you're radiant, and you are an open-hearted woman.
And that's her to the T.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, that's I can't believe she manifested. Here's the crazy thing, because I loved Cujo, right? Scared the hell out of me.
Me too.
Then I couldn't even watch The Howling. I mean, it's one of my favorite movies. I never thought it would be romantic, but here she is, and it's romantic to her.
Right.
Because of
Right.
And then E.T. just happening.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is with this business, and I keep saying it, it's a business of relationships. It's not a business of money.
Exactly.
So when you see somebody, you can see them later on in a movie, or you want somebody for this and you want somebody for that. It's that character, yes, but it's also working with that person that is going to deliver and is going to be a good person to bring in. How many people go to New York and they're terrified of New York, right?
Right, especially the first time.
And heaven has sent people waiting for her. She has those divine appointments already stacked up. She's going on faith. This is what she's supposed to do with her life. She's supposed to go to New York by herself. There were no cell phones back then. There was no GPS on anything. You were stuck. And it was old New York. So we're talking about, we're talking about being lost in a crowd of people. My parents would have just killed me if I said I was going to New York, because I tried.
Yeah.
But she did it. And it means so much to me to be able to have her not only on the show, but helping you out with your son.
Yes. Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to reach out to her for that.
And to talk with her on my own. I'm thrilled to death, and I can't wait.
And I think the message of manifestation, anybody that's listening, it truly is what she said. It's there waiting for you. You just have to find the energy and connect yourself with it. So whatever it is you want, you can manifest it. If and like she said, if you tell yourself you're tired or I am not worthy, then you're not worthy. Then you're just telling yourself you're not worthy of any of that. And it's so what how I look at life. I don't look at the glass the half empty. I look at it it's always half full. And no matter what comes at you, if you have that energy and that connection to say, I'm worth the glass being half full. I'm worth the glass being full. You're going to get what you manifest out there. So, that's something. I've just gone through a 3-month masterclass. We talked about that every week in our class. We have a mantra, and it's always about manifesting what it is you want. And
right.
So we have to, you owe it to yourself, and you deserve to manifest those things you want.
One of the great things about Your Beautiful Day is that we work with a really great guy named Neil Haley. And I love the male perspective that Neil brings to the show.
Yeah, I think he's so much fun to have on with us, and he brings a great perspective. But it's really cool because not a lot of men can understand the feminine side of the things that we do, and he gets it. And I think that's a great attribute that he has.
So thank you for joining us on Your Beautiful Day. I'm Jen, the Mother of Gratitude.
And I'm Pearl Sharenza with Women's Successful Living.
We hope that you have a beautiful day. Remember, you're blessed, you're loved, and you're sacred. Mwah.